Well, we're back to discuss The Heart of the Sea. If you watched our review, basically, not a lot of fault with the movie. It's just really long. And seeing it in IMAX was like getting beaten with a hammer because it's just really loud a lot of the time. There's a lot of, shots of ships being torn apart and violent things happening.
The buckling of wood is very, very loud.
Yeah, exactly. I think I thought it was interesting that I guess I misunderstood when he said at the beginning that he was the only one left alive. It wasn't that he was the only one that survived, it was that he was the only one still alive because he was an old man.
Yeah, and he was 14 at the time.
And he was 14 at the time of the story, so... the movie's, it's sort of bookended by Brendan Gleeson as an older version of one of the characters on the boat, talking to Herman Melville and giving him the inspiration for Moby Dick. And like the part of the story that he's the most unwilling to talk about is stuff that doesn't end up in the Moby Dick book, but it's kind of stuff that, like, yeah, if someone died when you were 1,000 miles from land, like, you eat them. Like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And,
And so it explores those things that we know happen, but we don't really want to talk about.
Right. I like that they didn't make they didn't make the main character just completely a superhero. Like, he wasn't always right, but it was pretty close to that. It came pretty close to that. Like, he always had the right answer, and...
Well, yeah, but it's also his decision that ends up having the ship ripped in two.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, that's the, like, his one, like, major mistake is the one that just does them completely, and that scene's great. Like, the scene of him tying the main trireme or whatever it is, like, to the whale, and the whale, like, gets a hold of the anchor and, like, throws that against something and then just basically rips the ship in half.
You actually stepped out of the theater for a minute, and there was a really good scene while you were gone that it showed. Okay. It was the three boats were out there, and you could see Moby Dick, but the only person that could see him was Chris Hemsworth's character.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, oh my God, is he crazy? Is the whale actually there? And it goes back and forth for a few minutes. And then, of course, Moby Dick comes in for the second attack, which ends up with him coming ashore on that island.
Right.
And it was really tense. It was very well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I was saying in the review, like, I can't... There's nothing particularly bad or wrong about the movie. It just didn't have enough variety. So there's something about it that just it just wore me down, and I couldn't stay, like, focused on it. Once it got to the end, like, once they got back to the harbor and everything, and they were dealing with the inquiry of the ship owners and stuff like that, stuff I was interested in, and I was back in there for it. But yeah, the whole section where they were adrift was kind of boring.
It did drag on. They did too many scenes of that. It kind of reminded me of Unbroken.
Yeah.
Just slightly better done.
Yeah, I see why they put all this stuff in there. Like, it makes sense from the audience needs to experience this as this long, hopeless, thing. But it was, it was this thing of like, here's 45 minutes of nonstop action, followed by 45 minutes of absolutely nothing happening, and then a closing at the end. I think that's kind of where it got to me. Maybe a bit better pacing, but the way it stands, the movie feels very realistic. Like, it felt like a documentary almost.
Yes.
Versus a movie. And so, from that standpoint, like, I really appreciate the movie. I really think it's well done and well made. I would have preferred to watch it in 2 sittings, or,
Yeah.
or something.
It definitely was taxing, because there for a bit you're just on the edge of your seat, and then
Right.
all of a sudden, slow down.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stay with it. There's not really much to talk about in the movie, though. There's, the disagreement, the whale attack, the second whale attack.
Yeah, I mean, you really, like, the majority of the plot before you walk in.
Yeah.
It's just these extra little embellishments here and there that they throw at it. It's certainly not anywhere near as boring as the book.
I like the interspersing of the narrator talking with Herman Melville.
With Melville, yeah.
Yeah. I thought those scenes added a little bit more connection to it, because, you're essentially seeing a witness to this just being something that nobody's connected to.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, it worked fine for the movie. It just wasn't like, they didn't really use it in a way where something unbelievable happens in the story and it stops and they go to have like a conversation about it. It was more like, well, what happened next? You've got plenty of story. No, tell the rest. Okay, all right, I'll tell the rest of the story. So then next there's some of those that are just kind of throwaway sections.
I agree.
But yeah, it works overall. I don't mean to keep harping on the same thing over and over again. I really thought it was well made. I thought the action sequences are well done. The actors are very, very good.
The effects on the whales were great too.
I felt like I wanted a little bit more from Cillian Murphy, but I was happy with his character overall. I just want to see more of him. I like his performances. So, yeah, that's about it for In the Heart of the Sea. So if you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.